right, let's see. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This is Supporting the Whole Family System-Wide Early Childhood Literacy Efforts in South Carolina. And joining us today is Beth Moore, the Communications Director for South Carolina First Steps. In the little overview when you registered, it was Rachel Hatton-Moore, who's also with First Steps. She's the two generation, is that how you say it, Beth?
Right. She's the two generation coordinator for,
yeah.
And she's actually works from the vantage point of the Early Childhood Advisory Council, which is staffed here at South Carolina First Steps. So that's the connection. And I'll talk about that connection a little bit more later.
Okay,
I'll also talk about what two generation means and how we use that approach in our work. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me today. I think I put this in my bio that I'm also the parent of 3 young children, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 9-month-old. So early childhood is very much my world right now. And to talk about what South Carolina is doing in the space of early childhood is something that I love to do. So thank you all for being here. If I can get my slides to go. All right, so I'm going to talk first about a little bit about South Carolina First Steps. Then I'm going to zoom out and talk about the state's early childhood system, which is represented by the membership of the South Carolina Early Childhood Advisory Council. And then I'm going to zoom back in to the work at South Carolina First Steps, and specifically the work we do in local communities across the state. So South Carolina First Steps is the state's only dedicated early childhood agency. And we work in every county of the state directly with parents and children, with child care providers, and with community members to help support children's well-being and school readiness from 0 and really before birth, so from 0 to age 5. And we do that in using kind of 3 approaches. By funding and supporting local partnerships, again, 1 in every county of the state. And they are the nonprofit organizations that offer direct services to children and families, and also serve as local hubs for early childhood resources and referrals. So their job really is in their community to make sure that the needs of children and families are addressed and any gaps in services are filled. At the state level, we also offer free 4-year-old kindergarten through the state's Child Early Reading and Development Program called CERDEP in private settings. So we do this in conjunction with public schools that offer free 4-year-old kindergarten for income eligible children in public schools. We offer that program in private settings. So in faith-based, nonprofit, and community-based childcare centers. And we fund that free 4-year-old kindergarten program. We also support the child care centers in providing really high quality programs to the children all the children they serve, including private paid children. And then finally, the third approach to our work is connecting and coordinating all of the agencies that provide services to children from birth through age 5 through the state's Early Childhood Advisory Council. And the membership of that council happens to be the exact same membership as our board of directors. So whenever our board meets, they have their name tags that have South Carolina First Steps Board of Trustees on it. They have the board meeting for South Carolina First Steps, and then they end that meeting, and then they start the next meeting as members of the state's Early Childhood Advisory Council. So they really serve two different roles as part of this body. So now I'm going to do the thing where I zoom out and I talk about the work of the Early Childhood Advisory Council. So as the communications director at First Steps, I direct the communications of our agency, but I also support the communications of the early childhood state system more broadly. And these are the agencies that are represented on our board of directors and on the Early Childhood Advisory Council. And you can see that it really covers a lot of different programs and services that are available for children and families. Just recently, late last year, the Early Childhood Advisory Council came together and adopted a strategic plan. This was a really big moment for our state early childhood system. We have never had in our history a system-wide strategic plan for birth through 5. We now do. And we just last week actually published the document that that strategic plan is, and that's actually available if you're interested in seeing it. I'll give you the link towards the end. But I'm just going to cover sort of what all that strategic plan entails. It includes a vision that all young children in South Carolina will be successful. And what success means is that they will be healthy and safe. They'll be nurtured by their families and communities. They will be ready for school when they arrive at kindergarten, and that they'll be supported by an aligned, coordinated, and family-centered early childhood system. So I'll go through each of the goals to kind of give you a sense of why they're important and what all they entail. To be healthy and safe means that a mom is supported and experiences good health and well-being before she's pregnant and during her pregnancy, so that a child is born healthy and can remain healthy and thrive. Ensuring that children get timely, regular medical care and immunizations, that they live in safe homes and communities, so that we're preventing child abuse and neglect, that they have access to nutrition and healthy food, that they have opportunities in their communities to explore, to learn, to play, and that finally, when they arrive at kindergarten, they're healthy, they have healthy bodies, and are ready to go. And why this period is so incredibly critical is because this is the single most important time for brain development in a human's life. The time a child arrives at kindergarten, 90% of their brain growth has already happened. And in the first few years of life, before birth and through about age 3, that's the absolute most rapid time of brain development, so much so that more than 1 million neural connections are formed every single second. Goal number 2 is that South Carolina's youngest children are actively supported by their families and communities, because we know that strong families and healthy, thriving communities are the context in which children learn and grow and set that really important foundation for all future health, behavior, learning, and success. So this is another infographic from that plan that just sort of gives you a kind of visual glimpse at what we mean by nurtured by their families and communities. We want to make sure that parents have the ability to have good jobs, to provide for their family, that parents themselves have opportunities to learn to be great parents, have support in that, and also opportunities to support their own career ambitions, to get job training or career training, to get a college degree. All of these are really important ingredients to a child's early experiences, and again, to that foundation for their future success. Goal 3 is that South Carolina's children arrive at school ready to reach their highest potential. And a really important element of that is that they have access to high quality early care and education. And we know that it works. There's plenty of studies out there that show that when children experience high quality early care and education programming, that they are more likely to do well in school. And when their parents have access to safe, reliable childcare, those parents have the ability to work, to earn higher in income, and those benefits in turn help children do well also. So all of this we know is important, but the only way it works is if it's available nearby, if it's high quality, if it's affordable, and that there are options that meets parents' needs. So as a state, we need to do a better job of making sure that families have access to these high quality programs and that they're affordable. The final goal is that the state's early childhood system is aligned, coordinated, and family-centered. And this is just a glimpse of what that state system looks like. It's very complicated. There are a lot of people, a lot of different agencies doing different work. different funding streams, both federal, state, and private. And keeping all of this coordinated, making sure that we're aligned, that we're not missing anything, that we're not duplicating efforts, that we're using our resources most efficiently. That's the work of the Early Childhood Advisory Council. And you could see that the Early Childhood Advisory Council coordinates all of these agencies. And we also loop in other agencies that serve family and children through something called the Interagency Collaboration Committee. And that includes ETV, the Department of Mental Health, and the State Library. So again, early childhood is very much a shared endeavor, not only in South Carolina, but all across the country. So what we want is that for families, this system doesn't seem complicated, that it seems easy. They know where to turn to for support. They know what options are available to them. And it's really easy for them to access those options, meaning it's easy for them to find them, to enroll in them, and to quickly get started so that they get those benefits from those programs and that they have the opportunity to thrive as early as possible. So what we want is the system to look and feel more like this, not this complicated web of programs and services, but rather a single place where families can know that they can find what's available to them. And again, that families are at the center, that we're listening to their voices and experiences, and that we're modifying and improving our services to them based on those experiences and those voices. And in a moment, I'm going to come back to this and to show you an exciting new thing, if you haven't already heard about it, called First 5SC, that's taken us a big step in the right direction toward achieving this kind of vision for the state's early childhood system. So now I want to talk a little bit about the two-generation approach. And if Rachel Hatton-Moore was here, and who was originally going to be presenting to you, this is her role. She's the two-generation coordinator for the state's early childhood system. And in that way, her job is to help promote and advance this philosophy and this approach to early childhood services, which is not just focusing on the child in isolation, but really focusing on the child within the context of an entire family. So typically, early childhood programs exist on a continuum, from child-focused to family-focused. And then public services for adults, again, also exist on that continuum from adult-focused to family-focused. What we want to achieve for early childhood programs and services is programs and services that benefit and promote the well-being of the entire family. Because again, we know that children don't thrive in isolation. They do so in the context of healthy, thriving families. And does anybody have, before I move on, does anybody have any questions about that? Or even a good example of a two-generation approach that you're familiar with that maybe you didn't know was called or qualified as two-generation? A literacy example that I know of, a lot of the literacy programs that we offer here at First Steps are family literacy programs. So we ensure that parents are also developing their own skill set so that their children are able to become joyful, curious, reading, loving students themselves. But having their parents also be right there with them is really important. That's a really good example of a two-generation approach in early childhood. So another one of the projects that Rachel coordinates as the two-generation coordinator is the South Carolina Family Voice Council. And this is a group of parents and caregivers of children who have participated in the state's public early childhood system. And they meet regularly and share their experiences, provide feedback. They're a really good sounding board for new initiatives. And they've only been together for a few months now, but have been just an incredible resource for us. I know here at First Steps, and I know that they're also really valuable to other agencies as well. This would be a great thing that you all could help get the word out. If you know of a family who is really engaged, really interested in sort of helping other families using their voice for good, this is a really great opportunity. All participants in the Family Voice Council are compensated for their time. And it's just a really great kind of professional advocacy development opportunity as well. Another collaborative project of the ECAC is the SC Summit on Early Childhood. This has historically been a First Steps conference that we hold in December of every year. But now that the Early Childhood Advisory Council is starting to pick up some steam and work together more collaboratively, we now do it as kind of a joint effort. So it really encompasses the entire system. This year, we have a theme that we're really excited about, and I think you might be too. It's called Once Upon a Time. And this is really about the power and the magic of storytelling in early childhood. That includes both the promotion of early childhood literacy, but also just the idea that telling stories can be a really, really powerful tool in promoting the work and being advocates for young children. So this conference will encompass all of those things. And at some point this year, we'll be putting out a call for proposals. So if you have any great ideas about early childhood literacy and storytelling, we would certainly love to hear from you. Another effort of the ECAC that it includes multiple agencies is Palmetto PreK. And this is an initiative primarily involving Head Start, First Steps 4K, South Carolina Department of Education, and DSS in increasing access, promoting family engagement, and boosting the quality across all of South Carolina's publicly funded pre-K programs. So that's early childhood programs for 3 and 4-year-olds. And we do that through 3 approaches: a web portal that gives families better information and access about the programs that are available to them, support for transitions into these programs and from these programs into kindergarten, and professional development opportunities. Twice a year, we offer the Palmetto PreK Jamboree for the state's teachers and staff of public pre-K programs. And it's a really wonderful free professional development opportunity. I don't know, have any of you heard about or participated in Palmetto PreK? Well, it is open to everyone. If you know of an educator who might benefit from this, please pass this information on to them. It's been really well received, and is something that we're really proud of. So the Palmetto PreK portal, this is kind of the public facing part of the Palmetto PreK project. And this is where families can go and quickly just answer a few questions to find out what programs they're eligible for and where those programs are offered in their communities. And our newest web portal is called First 5 SC. And this is what I mentioned earlier. This is the portal that provides families with information and access to all of the state's programs for children from birth through age 5. This is 60 different programs across 10 state agencies and other public entities. And just, again, by filling out a quick eligibility screener, an online form that just has a few questions, families can instantly find out which of 44 different programs they're eligible for. And this is a game changer. If you have ever known that a public program might be an opportunity for you and trying to navigate that, what website to look on, how to figure out if you're eligible for, how to complete an application and actually submit it, it's incredibly complicated. And doing that across multiple programs and across multiple agencies is overwhelming, time consuming, and a really big burden for a lot of families. So this is a step that makes things a lot easier for families and hopefully will increase access and, again, gets children the services they need to thrive. This year, we're going to be working on developing a common application which will be an even bigger step towards a more accessible family-centered early childhood system. So that's one application that families can fill out, can have saved in a secure database so that they can apply in one step to all of the programs that they're eligible for. If you haven't checked it out, it's at first5, that's the number 5, sc.org. And first is spelled out as well. And this is just another slide kind of showing you some of the interior of this. The programs are organized into buckets so that if families know that they're looking for childcare, they can easily navigate to that section. If they know that their child is experiencing a developmental delay or has a special need, they can go there. And the same is true for the other buckets as well: health and safety, food and nutrition, and parenting and family support. This is what the eligibility screener looks like. So just a few screens, a few questions, and families can fill this out in 10 minutes or less. A part of this project that I'm really excited about is using First5 as a platform for collecting and sharing real experiences and real stories from families. So this is just one family who has participated in the WIC program, the nutrition program offered through DHEC. And they came into the studio and did some photos. We had a few families do that. And this is the kind of thing we want to do throughout the year. We're going to build out a part of the First5 portal to actually be a place where parents can share their stories, parents and caregivers. And we're going to take it on the road this fall. So our plan is to be at the state fair with a storytelling booth, and as part of our campaign to promote First5, to do so by using real parents and real stories. All right, so now I'm going to zoom back in to South Carolina First Steps. A lot of the programs that you'll find on First5 SC are programs that are offered by First Steps local partnerships. Because we are the state's dedicated early childhood early childhood agency, we offer a lot of those programs and services for children from 0 to 5. So again, this is our 3 approaches. Local partnerships and 4K are included in those. And another thing that we do here at the state level is to offer resources directly to families about what school readiness means and how they can promote school readiness with their children. So in 2015, South Carolina First Steps worked with the Department of Ed and partners across the state to develop a common definition of school readiness. Because if you talk about school readiness to somebody who is not, familiar with early childhood or all of the jargon that we use in the early childhood space, that might not mean a lot. You need concrete examples of what school readiness means. And this is it. This breaks down the idea that school readiness is not just about knowing your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. It's really crosses all domains of physical well-being, language and literacy development, social and emotional skills, and just developing a curiosity about the world. So all of that's here in this document. This is available on our website. And we also have a poster version of it that's really easy to hand out to families. So if you want to get your hands on some of these, please let me know and I would love to send you some.
I was just going to ask if you had a poster. That would be awesome. I think
I've got lots of them.
Yeah.
All right, so here at First Steps, our approach to early childhood can be kind of broken out into 4 categories: health, parenting, early care and education, and school transitions. And I'm going to go through each one of these to give you some examples of the programs and initiatives that we offer in these categories. And I want to give you a little disclaimer. These maps are a year old. Our programs and services change from year to year because our partnerships modify their offerings based on the needs of their community, which is a really cool thing about First Steps. But it makes us kind of complicated. We offer over 30 different programs across 46 counties, and those change every single year. Just last year, we actually launched a website that makes it a little bit easier to find out what's available in your community. So you can search a map to find your county partnership. You can see what programs they're offering currently, and then you can kind of dig in and find information about those specific programs. Our health programs do have a few different things depending on what program it is. Our biggest program model is early resource and referral. So this is when a parent educator, early interventionist will work with a family and help that family to identify any potential developmental delays or concerns and get that family connected to the resources they need in their community. We also offer food and nutrition programs. In Lancaster and Chesterfield counties, we offer weekend backpack programs for preschool children so that anybody, a preschool child who is food insecure will have healthy food and snacks over the weekend, over holidays, and in summer breaks. And we also, another aspect of health, which really sort of spans health and parenting programs, is that we equip parents with the skills and the knowledge to protect their children from toxic stress and stressful situations. Because we know that toxic stress, any sort of prolonged exposure to things like poverty, to violence, to other adverse early childhood experiences, we know that the presence of a stable, nurturing adult relationship can protect a child throughout childhood and ensure that they are resilient and able to thrive. So that's another kind of aspect of health that we address here at First Steps. Excuse me. Our parenting programs are our biggest investment and something that we offer almost in almost every county of the state. And this is primarily home visiting programs. So we have trained home visitors, nurses, parent educators, and other early childhood professionals that go into families' homes. These are all voluntary programs that families sign up for and willingly participate in. And these parent educators go into family homes, provide families with knowledge about early childhood development and parenting skills that can help ensure that their children are learning and ready for school.
I do have a question about that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. How does this work like during the pandemic? Are y'all still coming into home or is it more of online services?
It's varied from county to county, depending kind of on the comfort level of families and of the parent educators themselves. I know early on in the pandemic, a lot of our partners quickly transitioned to virtual program offerings and are continuing to do that today. Sometimes that capability wasn't there because a lot of our counties are rural counties where they don't have great access to Wi-Fi and the ability to do that. So they would be creative. They would meet in parks, outside. I know that some families where the parent educator would come to the home and would sit on the front porch and just have a conversation with the parent through a screen door. It was not ideal for sure, but we were really proud of the way that our parent educators and our families were able to work around the limitations that the pandemic presented and continue to work together. For a lot of these families, their parent educator really provided an important lifeline, especially during the times where families were feeling really isolated. But that's a great question. So underneath the bucket of parenting are our literacy programs. The logos you see on the right are just a few of those programs. Dolly Parton Imagination Library, you're probably all familiar with, where families receive free books in the mail. Raising a Reader is a lending library program, I think most often done through childcare settings. And then Reach Out and Read is a literacy program that is implemented in medical settings. We also, one of the coolest things about First Steps and our partnerships is that a lot of them develop their own programs based on their community partnerships and again, of the needs of families. So we have a lot of programs that are library-based programs, which is kind of a catch-all for custom grassroots programs that partnerships develop in partnership with their local library. One really great example of this is Dorchester County developed a literacy kit program with their local library, where they actually put together these boxes that were developmentally appropriate for different age levels, that had books and information and toys that families could actually check out from the library to keep and to play with their children, and to kind of encourage those early literacy and language skills at home. And Lee and I were talking about this earlier. If you didn't know this, every local partnership board is made up of local leaders in those communities and required by law to include a representative from the local library. So that relationship is established in law. But of course, and it is meant to encourage these community partnerships and connections. The fourth category of programs we offer are early care and education. This ranges from providing childcare scholarships to actually working with childcare providers on professional development and training. So a strategy that we call quality enhancement is where coaches will work directly with childcare centers to develop their curriculum, to hone their teaching skills, to develop safe, high quality classroom environments, and to provide some funding to help support all of that. Some of our partnerships actually run childcare centers themselves. And again, at the state level, we also offer four-year-old kindergarten, free four-year-old kindergarten to children across the state. In Chesterfield County, this is a really great example of how our local partnerships and our state level initiatives kind of come together to support the needs of local communities. In Chesterfield, that local partnership actually runs a First Steps 4K center at their local college. So it provides students with a place to send their children to experience a high quality preschool program. It also gives students at that college who are interested in early childhood education a kind of lab school environment. And of course, it provides a high quality preschool experience to local children. So it's a really cool partnership. Just this year, by the way, if you weren't aware of this, previously, before last year, this ability for children to have a funded four-year-old kindergarten experience was only available to children in the state's lowest income school districts. And just last year, with support from the governor and the state legislature, that program was expanded statewide. So now every child in the state who is Medicaid eligible, that's 185% of poverty or below, can attend a high quality 4K program, either in their public school or in the private school, private childcare setting of their choice. And the final type of program we offer are school transition programs. And this is really supporting a high quality transition, either from home, if a child has not been in childcare or a preschool program, or from a preschool program into kindergarten. And the biggest program we offer in this category is called Countdown to Kindergarten. And it's especially cool because it's the one program offered by First Steps that was actually developed by First Steps here at the state level. It was developed, and now off the top of my head, I can't remember if it was 2003 or 2005, but since then we have served tens of thousands of children, and it actually trains kindergarten teachers to be parent educators and home visitors. So in the summer before school starts, children who are eligible for the program, and this means that they have a risk factor that our state board has identified as a risk factor for early school failure. And you can actually find that list on our website. It includes anything from like income to, I think having a parent in the military actually is considered a risk factor. So it's not just income based. It's a whole range of qualifying factors. But any child that's eligible for the program can participate if their teacher is participating. And the teacher will make 6 visits with the child, one-on-one visits, 5 in the family's home, and the final visit at the school in the classroom. And it's a curriculum-based program, and it gives the parents an opportunity to understand what kindergarten expectations are and how they can work with their child at home to prepare their children for a great start in the kindergarten classroom. We love this program. We're super proud of it. And we actually are planning on expanding it and making it more than just a home visiting program so that all children in the state can benefit from some kind of transition support. So I'm going to share with you sort of what our plans for and how you, especially in libraries across the state, can get involved. So this year, we're expanding it from, and we've been doing a little bit of this recently, but we're doing this in a more sort of concerted, deliberate effort this year, is to expand it beyond the home visiting program to include community events. So those are countdown to kindergarten celebrations that will happen towards the end of the summer. We're also going to build a website that will have information about the program and how you can get involved if you're interested, or we'll just have resources available to parents so that they can just hop on a website and learn about what school readiness means and how they can work with their child at home to build those skills. And then also on top of that, a public awareness campaign just about school readiness in general, the importance of it. And again, how families, communities, and educators can all support children in the transition to kindergarten. So back to the community event opportunity. This is something that we know that a lot of organizations and entities are already doing. I know that children's museums, a lot of them offer countdown to kindergarten events towards the end of the summer. I know that libraries do this as well. They offer events, you all offer events across the summer, back to school events, school readiness events. And this is a way to support those efforts, to bring those people together who are already doing stuff in their community so that we can learn from each other, and to make this as part of a kind of coordinated statewide effort, because I think together we can be even stronger and kind of lifting up the importance of school readiness. So we don't have it posted yet. I was hoping to have it posted today so that you could all immediately go to the website and see. But today or Monday, early next week, we'll be posting a funding opportunity for this. This is up to $10,000 in funding for your Countdown to Kindergarten program. We'll provide the funding. We'll also provide some resources, some marketing resources, a Countdown to Kindergarten logo that you can use, and the ability to have your event actually posted on this website that we're building. And in addition to all of that, the opportunity to get together with other professionals who are engaged in school readiness and school transition activities so that we can all learn from each other. And again, develop more resources that are needed and wanted by early childhood professionals, kindergarten teachers, and families. Did any of you have any questions about this? Thoughts, input? We're just rolling this out. So if you have any sort of questions in your mind, I would love to hear what they are.
Yeah, it sounds really awesome. Like you were saying, a lot of libraries already participate in back to school events. So I like what you said about just making the goal be like a, combined effort. So you're not, I don't know, reinventing the wheel, or so everybody's helping each other.
Yeah. And what I think is really exciting about this is that there is nothing like this in the country. In fact, the Countdown to Kindergarten program, the home visiting program, there is no school transition program that we're aware of that's that intensive and kind of family focused. So to make this as part of kind of a statewide effort, something that's really unique to South Carolina, is something that could really set us apart as a state, as one that really values and prioritizes school readiness. So I hope you all will be excited about getting involved. Even if you decide that, you know, an event and applying for the grant funding is not right for you at this time, there will certainly be resources available to you that you can share with the families that you serve. All righty. So next steps for all of you are to connect with us. You can find lots of stuff on our website, resources for families, that profile of the ready kindergartner, a section called Why It Matters. If you're looking for good talking points about why early childhood matters and why early learning matters and early literacy and language, this is a great resource. It talks about brain development, about how early childhood programs and services help to strengthen families and communities, help to set children up for success across a lifetime, and really help to make our communities and our state prosperous and ready for the future. So all of that's there on our website. These are just a few of the resources that families might be interested in knowing about. I've talked about the profile of the ready kindergartner and first 5 in Palmetto PreK, but these are some handouts that we have here. If you need handouts, we'll send them to you. Just let me know. I'll be happy to package some up and send some your way. And that is all I have for you. Do you have any questions or thoughts? All righty.
All right, somebody has to have a question. I'm curious about what questions you all get from families at story time. Or are there already resources with first steps that you're already recommending to families?
Hi there, my name is Sunny and I work for Richland Library at Sand Hills. I have a STEAM program for 3 to 5-year-olds that in the before times was very popular, and a lot of parents come to us and to the different branches for that early intervention experience. When you plan on rolling this out this summer, you will obviously have materials and marketing materials. Yes, is that my understanding?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And the other thing is that the parents love it when they can get together and talk to one another and not feel that they're so separate and apart and that they're not the only one going through it. And that's why I love story time, and I love it when we do programming like that, because it's not just for the children, it's for the parents too. And I think that they scaffold one another. That's just an observation that I've made.
Yeah. I think, you know, we talk about this here a lot, that most of what we do is for parents, because parents are the most important ingredient in all this. Parents and caregivers, the adults who are in children's lives, who make safe, nurturing homes for them, places where they can learn. I mean, that's the most important thing. So anything we can do to support parents and to help them do their job, that makes our work successful.
And I had one more question. How much parental participation in the classroom is there? I know with Head Start, my own child was in Head Start. We were military years ago, and we were expected to be in the classroom. And it was really beneficial because in us being in the classroom, it also showed our children that it was important to us. How much parental participation within these classrooms do you see, or are you seeing, or is that part of the mission?
Absolutely. You know, and it varies across programs. If something, this is an initiative of First Steps 4K that I didn't talk about, but in our effort to serve 4-year-olds, we also, again, want to engage the entire family. So one thing we do is we partner with DSS so that any child who participates in First Steps 4K, their sibling is eligible for a child care scholarship through DSS. So that means that if a parent is putting their child into 4K for the first time, they want to go back to work or to pursue a career, but they have another child at home and they can't afford childcare. Now, if their child is participating in First Steps 4K, their child can also go to an ABC quality, a high quality childcare center. On top of that, in some of our 4K centers, we offer a parenting program called HIPPY. And this is a peer parent education program that is provided by AmeriCorps members. So we just launched an AmeriCorps program about a year ago, maybe it was 2 years ago, about a year ago. And a lot of our members actually serve as parent educators through this HIPPY program. So these are parents themselves who are forming relationships with the parents of other 4K students, equipping them with learning skills and activities that they can do at home with their child to help prepare them for school. And also just to again, give them a sense that this is an entire family effort. It's not just about sending your child to school for a day to get them the education that they need to be ready. It's about these connections between the child care program and the home. Sorry. I'm talking too much. So anyway.
Well, drink some water and let me talk for a minute. Oh, there was a question about, wait, you weren't finished though, were you? There was a question earlier, this is not related at all, about the website for the Summit on Early Childhood. I see the last year's information is the new information, or I'm guessing that's not out yet. Once upon a time.
Okay. I might not be able to talk anymore. And I can't find my mute button, so you all don't have to listen to me like hacking over here. We don't have any information about the next year's summit up yet. I do believe that we have the recordings that we're allowed to share from last year's summit available. I need to look on our website, but I know that they're on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
So yeah, those sessions are still available to view. And information about the summit itself is still on our website.
I'm really excited about this year's theme. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited about it too. And I talked to you about the story booth for First Five. We're planning on having that at the summit too, so that summit participants can also visit the booth and kind of share their story as well.
Yeah. All right. Are there any more questions? This was great. Every time I feel like I know enough about First Steps, but then every time I hear somebody speak about it, there are new programs to learn about, or so there's just so much there. So this is really great to be able to share with our Storytime families.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and sorry for the inelegant finish where y'all listen to me talk for 5 minutes straight, but it was a pleasure.
One more
to
question.
speak with you all today.
Oh, you have another question?
I do. It's about the weekend backpack program. Is that limited, like a couple per family, or is it however many kids are in the family, they get it?
I'm not exactly sure how it works, but my understanding is that each child, and it's all done through child care centers or preschool programs. And I know in Lancaster, they work with the local schools. So they actually do it at elementary schools. And in Chesterfield, they do it through their 4K classroom and possibly another child care center. But every child who's eligible takes a backpack home with them on the weekends.
Okay.
And I don't know if they also provide food for siblings. I don't know the answer to that question exactly. But I know it's something that is available through other organizations across the state too, these weekend backpack efforts.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you so much, Beth. This was really helpful.
Thank you. Hope you all have a good weekend.
Yeah, everybody have a great Friday. Thanks. We'll see you later.
And Lee, if it would be helpful, I can put together